How we doing there, guys? So happy to be with you guys for another video. Again, going on our every other week schedule with these video postings. So this begins our fourth week of the term, and as of you all watching this video, you have submitted by Sunday night, that is September the 3rd, your narrative essay. So that's the first major writing assignment in the term. It is 15% of your overall grade. Looking at the submissions this morning, this being recorded on Sunday the 3rd, a smattering of submissions so far, so hopefully we get those in by the deadline, which is midnight or a minute before midnight, 11:59. Of course, it's never the best practice to wait till the last minute. Things happen, technical issues happen, submission issues happen. I'm no stranger to this myself. When I was in school, just over 10 years ago, uh, things do come up, right? But you have to kind of price that in your week, and kind of do your best to work around that, and not just assume that the planets are going to align perfectly for you if you wait till the last minute. So that is an accountability thing on you guys. So take ownership of that. If you did wait to the last minute and you could trouble submitting it, and I know we have busy lives, not the least of whom myself. I teach middle school during the day. It's my day job, and work with you all. Happy to do that as well on this online capacity. So I understand. But in an online class, it's paramount that you are sticking to deadlines, turning things in on time and in the right place in Blackboard. That's just an ease for you and for me. When I go to grade it, there it is on time. I don't have to put a 0 in the grade book. And I try to be punctual and efficient with turning things around to you guys to grade. You have to realize, though, that I do have to read every submission, so it can be time consuming. So your patience with that is appreciated. As of you all watching this video, the only thing that is not graded yet is your narrative essay, because essays typically take, it's customary to allow a 2-week turnaround time for those. 2-page essay, probably, I don't know, 800-ish word ballpark range, 600, 800-ish words, give or take, 4 or 5 paragraphs worth. So that'll take a minute. Okay. But looking forward to reading those. And our little cap on that unit this week is our discussion forum. It's going to serve as a wrap-up for our first unit, our narrative unit. And the discussion forum is a TED article. There is a video embedded in the article as well that you're free to watch. But I'm just concerned about the article's content. I came upon this article 6 years ago, and I was teaching in person at a community college. And the article really struck me and stuck with me. It's very profound. The author talks about 2 stories that we tell ourselves. Now, part of your assignment is you have to identify what those stories are. She talks about them in the article's content. But I found that those 2 stories that we tell ourselves it's a very useful tool, because I find myself telling myself a certain story, and there are 2 types. I'm in the column B story, which is tends to be a little more pessimistic and negative. It's just the way I'm wired. But people who look fondly back to high school or middle school or college, or childhood. You look at childhood and the past with rosy tinted glasses, nostalgia, all that stuff. I am a hound for that stuff. It's just, I'm kind of a sentimental nostalgia fiend, I guess. It's just who I am, that I didn't choose to be that way. So there's definitely a type of story that I tell myself based on what the author, how the author identifies these two story types. There's a story type where we kind of live in the past and kind of glorify the past. And when you do that, of course, it's not healthy. Okay. We all do that to some degree from time to time. And it's not to say that you shouldn't look to the past for inspiration or just the joy of remembering a fond memory, sharing that story with a friend or a loved one. But you don't want to dwell in the past, because when you dwell in the past, you're neglecting everything around you right now, right? So your present, which affects your future, can start to stagnate, maybe crumble. All right. So you don't want to get too preoccupied or transfixed on the past. Take it from someone who does that more often than he should. So she calls that type of story the people who fixate on the past. I peaked in high school or whatever it may be. That's a certain type of story we tell ourselves. And then there's the other type of story we tell ourselves, where we look to each new day as a brand new adventure, goals to accomplish, new skills to learn. And it doesn't mean we don't look back at, past trials and tribulations, traumas, whatnot, but we use them to fuel us to do better. So we don't let our mistakes and wrongdoings and transgressions overcome us. That's the column B story people. I tend to stay in that column more often than I should. The column A people who tell themselves a particular type of story say, fair enough, bad things happened, mistakes are made, maybe I have regrets, but I'm not going to let those things consume me and overcome me. Instead, I'm going to use them to launch myself higher and really realize my true potential and be fully self-actualized and all of that good stuff. So I'm curious to know, first you'll see the discussion questions, which story, the column A story or the column B story, and she names what these things are. You'll have to identify what they are. Which one do you tell yourself? Maybe it's a combination of the both of them. Me, it's a combination of the both. But which one do you tell yourself more often? And describe what these story, what is the content of these stories? I'm kind of giving you guys a hint with talking around it here in this little video explanation. How does she define the story? Both stories. Which one do you tell yourself more often? And I think this will be a really nice fertile ground for a lot of robust discussion in the prompt. Discussion prompts, 150 words for your original post. Respond to the other person's post in a minimum of 100 words. Watch that spelling, watch that grammar, watch those capitalization errors. I, first person pronoun, referring to yourself, I, that is always capitalized. Watch those apostrophes with possessives versus plurals. Watch commas, things like that. I've tried to be kind of forgiving first couple assignments, but when those little pesky mistakes add up, it's hard to, as an English instructor, it's hard to forgive them over and over again. So if I do bring it to your attention, know it's at a place of wanting you to do better and just to kind of watch for these things. Proofread. There's Grammarly. We have writing tools embedded for you in Blackboard in the student resources section that you could consult. So please take advantage of those things if you need them. So yeah, that's it this week, a discussion forum. And then I would recommend reading the two stories for our next unit, which is descriptive writing. So they are going to be in our description unit in the reader. So the 1101 reader, not the textbook, not the SEC. We'll do that next week. But get a jump on the two reading selections. One is E.B. White's Once More to the Lake. E.B. White, famously, who wrote Stuart Little and Charlotte's Web. And then the other one is Truman Capote's first chapter from his seminal novel. He kind of popularized this journalistic fiction genre, In Cold Blood, one of my favorite novels of all time. It's kind of like the creme de la creme of the OG true crime novels. So this is the first chapter from In Cold Blood. It's a lot of setting description, time and place, the families that were involved. So in this unit, descriptive, that's what we're keying in on, descriptive detail. Okay, so for our next essay, which is our descriptive essay, the focus isn't going to be so much on storytelling as it will be on harnessing in our kind of writer's toolkit the ability to use descriptive language and not to overdo it. I don't know if you guys are like me. Sometimes you read something and maybe get overwhelmed with too much seemingly like tedious description where it's kind of a slog to read through it. That could be a pitfall if you were overly descriptive, overly detailed. So it's about finding that sweet spot of writing with captivating imagery. You're being descriptive, you're putting us there, you're appealing to our taste, touch, senses, smell, okay, but not kind of like bombarding us with a fusillade of over description. But we'll worry about drafting next week. But I would recommend getting a jump on those reading selections because we will have questions on them next week. So that's in the reader selection again. That is the first chapter of In Cold Blood from Truman Capote, and then the short essay Once More to the Lake by E.B. White. Read those. Do your discussion forum. It's just the discussion forum due Friday, though. Discussion forums are always going to be due on the Friday. So that is the 8th. So, you guys have been informed about that. Hopefully we get all those essays in. I'm not grading things sent to me via email or late things unless you have a truly extenuating circumstance that you and I have talked about. So if you need to email me and discuss something with me, hey, here's why I couldn't do this. It's got to be a legitimate excuse. I'm kind of relying on you guys to be on time and do what you need to do on a weekly basis. That's the only way an online course goes smoothly and well for everybody, right? If we're all adhering to our deadlines and doing what we need to do. So thanks for helping me out with that, and thanks for understanding that I can't put the course on pause and go back and look at all these late submissions and my emails. Okay, when I go to grade, it's kind of a one fell swoop thing. It's this assignment, this time slot. I'm looking at that place in Blackboard, and I'm going down the list. And if it's not there, again, unless we've had some discussion and you have a legitimate excuse, if it's not there, it's going to be a 0 in the grade book. All right, so just want to make sure we understand that. I'm not trying to be a jerk about that stuff. It's just trying to be organized and have everyone maintain to the same standard. And it's a fairness issue and all that other stuff as well. All right, well, that's it for me. I hope you guys have a great week, great Labor Day, and peace, and I'll talk to you again next time. Godspeed. Bye-bye.